Hi, Michael. Firstly, thank you very much for asking me to do this. Some amazingly good questions. And thank you for saying that I inspired you, amongst other things, I'm sure, to get into the entertainment industry. I'm fascinated to know what you do in the entertainment industry, but that means a lot to me. Michael is a great name because that was my dad's name. I don't know if you know that. And I have a nephew called Michael too, in his honor. So yeah, Michael's a very, in my books, a very, very good name. Right, your questions. So, the difference between doing the two shows, or rather what that transition was like between Dynasty and General Hospital, that was difficult because there was an overlap. For a while, I did both Dynasty and General Hospital at the same time. And right in the middle of all of that, I fell off the horse on the set of Dynasty and ruptured a disc in my spine. So again, that just added to it all. Probably the most onerous part of it all was that my two characters, Fallon and Holly, had different hair color. So I had to get my hair changed in color between General Hospital and Dynasty. So you can imagine that was, my hair was pretty fried by the end of all of that. Multiple adjustments in color. But what an honor it was to be asked to do that. My goodness. Forgive me for keeping my glasses on. Sorry if you occasionally catch the ring light there. But I want to make sure I read your questions because I've written them down. So how much do I keep in touch with the Dynasty cast? A bit more, since I reached out to all of them to see if they would help me with the fundraiser that I did during the pandemic lockdown, to raise funds for long COVID research, which amazingly, everybody who was alive at the time helped. They participated, and it was extraordinary, and it meant the world to me that they all did that, because I'm sure, as you know, I've suffered from it. You can probably still hear it in my voice, from long COVID for now 5 years. So the fact that they all stepped up and helped was really very heartwarming to me. I was already, and still have been, in touch long term with Jack Coleman, who played Stephen, and Gordon Thompson, who played Adam, who are just the dearest, most lovely. Jack was always the smartest of all us actors. So I always feel very lucky that he was to be friends with me. Sounds silly, but no, I feel very privileged that, you know, we both make the effort, keep in touch, and have remained friends. I still hear a little bit from Ray Abruzzo, who played Zarelli. Very good actor, really good actor. And I think really livened up the show in its last 2 seasons. It made a huge difference, certainly to me, to get to work with him, because he's a very good actor. And wasn't your typical Dynasty actor either. He came in with a very different sort of tone and look, and, you know, and humor. He had so much humor, which was great to work opposite that. He was a bed scene virgin, so I had to introduce him to that kind of on camera romance stuff, of which there's, you know, it's a tricky path to be walked, and we got him through it. But yeah, he was a bit intimidated by all of that kind of stuff, having only pretty much played policeman before that. But he was still playing a policeman, but this policeman now had a romantic interest. What other questions did you have? There was no screen test for General Hospital. There was for General Hospital, multiples, including with Tony Geary. That was the one that got me the job, I think, because he very kindly said, yeah, I would like to work with her. Don't know why, bless his heart, but I've thanked him probably hundreds of times for that. But Dynasty, I did not have a screen test, and the reason for that is because I was asked to go in, and whilst I was doing General Hospital, I was asked to go in and have a meeting with the Dynasty people. The show had been on the air for 3 years, I think. And I went in for a general meeting, but the reason I was asked to go in was that Tori Spelling, who is Aaron Spelling's daughter, who was a teenager at the time, watched General Hospital and had nudged her dad and said, there's an actress on General Hospital that I think you should talk to because she's really good. That's the story I heard. I don't know if it's true, but obviously if it is true, oh my God, thank you, Tori Spelling. And so I went in for a general meeting, and they looked at me, and it wasn't with Aaron Spelling, it was with the producers of the show. And they looked at me and said, "Ooh, you know, we need a new Fallon because Pamela Sue Martin has just left, so let's have a think about that." And next thing I know, I was offered that job, which was obviously an amazingly big deal for me. And I'm extremely grateful for it. And it was so much fun, so much fun. You know, we laughed a lot, as you can imagine. And then I got to do Colby's as well. I got to do the iconic being taken away in the spacecraft. The chap who played, you know, that silhouetted alien figure in the doorway, that was our second assistant director, Dan. And I'm still in touch with him. He ended up being mayor of a city in California, a small city or town. Bless his heart. So he's an amazing guy. And yes, he was the one who had to stare into his eyes and look all, you know, look all just sort of vapidly at him. And of course we laughed. We just laughed the whole time, which was not what they wanted. But that was the fun. It was a whole night shoot out in the desert somewhere, and it was cold and not terribly luxurious, but it was a big deal. I thought when I first read that script that it was a joke ending just to hide and to deter speculation from what was going to be the real story, the big cliffhanger, and that actually was the real cliffhanger, which was a shock. But I went for it, and I did it as best as I could. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling now. But Michael, thank you so much for asking me to do this. Lots of really, really good questions. Let me know what it is you do in our business. I'm intrigued. And take care and have a great weekend.